Mobile business intelligence holds the promise of actually getting you data when you need it, on the factory floor, in a meeting, or when you're with a customer. So let's take a look at how this works. Here we're looking at an iPad, and you can actually see my finger tap with this circle when I move around the dashboard. In Tableau, on the iPad, everything is touch enabled, so you can see me scroll in that customer detail field. We can also come up here and filter by date quite easily, and all three views will update. The user experience is very similar to the experience on Tableau's server, because we don't believe people should have to learn a new experience on a mobile device. It should just be optimized for their touch. Here I can change the region quite easily from the south to the east, and we'll see the whole view update. And I can even scroll quite naturally within a search box, so here I could look for a specific customer, and you can see that view scroll. In Tableau we focused on usability for the user, because when you're up and about in a mobile scenario, you're not able to sit down and be very exact with where your fingers are, so you want to be able to do things like change thresholds, or pan and zoom in a map. Without having to spend a lot of time fiddling around with the view. So Tableau has these touch-enabled views, and everything in the view has been touch-enabled, from the filters to the parameters to the maps and even the views themselves, as you saw when I was scrolling around on the customer detail. This usability is the heart of the Tableau mobile philosophy. We believe that it should be easy to consume mobile views. We have an author once consume anywhere approach, which I'll show you in just a second. The experience is consistent across devices, and it's usable whether you're using a mouse on Tableau's server at your desktop or on a mobile device, as we just showed. Tableau always looks at rapid IT-free authoring, so you don't need to be a programmer to create these views. And let's go ahead and take a look at how that would work. Here I've got Tableau Desktop. This is the tool that you always use to create reports in Tableau. And we're just going to drag and drop to create a couple of basic views. Here we're looking at sales by category. Maybe I'll put customer segment on color, so we can get a basic view of who's buying what products. And I'll create another very simple view of order date. I'll just drag order date out to the columns, and let's look at sales. Perhaps we could do that over all values. So now we can see sales over every day over the last few years, and we can see the number of products that people bought. Let's combine those two views into a dashboard. Again, we're just creating something very simple here in a couple of minutes. We'll do a little cleanup and give this dashboard a title. Let's call it our sales dashboard. Now I'm going to hide a couple of the titles and add a relative date filter here. Let me make that filter relative instead of a specific range of dates. And now I can do things like filter to the last 3 years. And if I make that filter global, everything on the dashboard will update. So let's look at the last 2 years, or the last 1 year. So now I'm going to show you the real power of the Tableau mobile application and philosophy. We've taken an author once approach, which means that when I publish this to Tableau's server, you just go ahead and I'm already logged into my Tableau server. I'm just going to publish the dashboard, and I'm going to call it Sales Dashboard June 2011. Now I'm publishing this up to the server, and of course anyone logged into the web view of the server on their PC or on their desktop can go ahead and see this and interact with it. And I'll show you that right here in Tableau server. So again, we're still using our mouse, we're still on our PC. Let's look at all the workbooks and the ones that we've just published. We can see that view that just came in, and again I'm using my mouse. And this is how Tableau publishing works. You publish up to the server, and you can get data about that, you can adjust the time period, and so on. But now let's see how that works on a mobile device. I didn't have to do anything special, but if I go over to my mobile device, and here we are on the iPad again, let's go ahead and find that new workbook. I'll have to refresh to go and get the new workbooks from the screen, and then I can use the buttons up here to find by project or by publisher. I'm going to look for the date modified. I'm going to look for anything published today. And you can see that sales dashboard just published a few minutes ago. And that's going to load up. And again, now you can see Tableau is seeing that I'm on a mobile device without me having to tell it ever that, hey, look, I'm on an iPad now. It just knows that. And I can go ahead and click that relative date filter, and I can change it to the last 1 year. And you can see that view update. So this is how mobile works with Tableau. We automatically detect the device and give you the best user experience for that device. Let's take a look at another aspect of using views on the road. When you are looking at views, you need to be able to find things quickly. So Tableau gives you the option to find things in a number of different ways. Let's look at all workbooks again, and perhaps look at workbooks only in marketing. So now we can scroll through views and very, very quickly go into a workbook about market penetration by city. If you can't find the content you want, it's not going to be useful. This is another aspect of usability in Tableau. I can also go back and instead of filtering for content by project or publisher or the date modified, I'm going to go ahead and go to all views again, and I'm just going to look for any workbook with the word sales in it. So I can search my workbooks as well. And now you'll see all of the workbooks that have the word sales in it. And they'll show up with their thumbnails, and I can go ahead and select a workbook. Tableau's iPad app is fully integrated with Tableau's server security, so I can actually go and force a log out or force myself to authenticate every time I come in. When I do go to my workbooks, if I don't have permissions on Tableau server, I don't have permissions on the mobile device. That means if my mobile device gets lost or stolen, then I can just change my account and nobody will ever be able to access that data. The data does not come down to the device itself. When I'm looking at my workbooks, just like on Tableau server, I can always look at my favorite workbooks or the things that I've used recently. And finally, Tableau's Author Once environment extends to mobile Safari. So here I'm not even in the Tableau iPad app. You can see that the Chrome, or the area around Tableau, has changed, but we're still in an iPad. And I'm just looking at my normal Safari browser. And just like I could on the iPad app, I can go ahead and browse by content, and I can find that very same workbook that we just published. And even though I'm not in the app, Tableau does detect that I'm on a mobile browser, that I'm in an iPad, and it will give me that same touch-enabled experience, so I can have a very rich and usable experience right here in mobile Safari without ever downloading the app itself. This is what we mean by Author Once. No matter where you publish, you can always go and get that data and work with it. And so here you'll see this touch-enabled experience, again, where I can go in and change the filter and say, let's look at the last 1 year. Now you'll see us going from 3 years to 1 year. I've got a nice view here. I can scroll within my view and so on. So that's Tableau's mobile philosophy, an extremely usable experience, an Author Once environment so that you don't end up with different dashboards tagged for different platforms and devices. Ultimately something that lets you get your data out into the field and where it can be most useful.